Yeah, we definitely don't want Bourne co-hosting anything. All right, so how's the week going? Week is going great, much better than our overall week last week. So that's good. We got some good news there. And today is July 15th. This is an extremely important day. My good buddy co-host and everybody out there in Badger and Bowtie land. And that is because now I know there's 31 days in July, but I always tell Liz that my birthday is minus to plus 15 days. My birthday is August 1st. So today starts the official celebration of Chris Gluck's birthday. Liz knows that this is super important, so I'm expecting some sort of gift tonight to kick off the minus 15 days as we roll right into August 1st and through August 15th. And the important thing about August 15th is that rolls over another person's birthday that of course I want to overshadow, which is one Lawrence R. Newman, whose birthday is August 11th. So that's what's going on. What else is going on? A couple other quick things. I'm excited about our lineup tonight. You know, we got Aetna, we have Randi McVinnie, which is really cool. I'm also really looking forward to getting some more as we kind of roll through the end of summer here, mid-summer into end of summer. Looking forward to getting some more direction on college football season this year. You know, the Big Ten came out and announced conference-only games. Pac-12 did the same. So I don't know what's going to happen with college football, but clearly that's a large portion of my life. And if we don't have college football, that's going to be a problem.
You know, one of the cool things about applying at the University of Illinois for my MBA is joining your conference that you're excited about. And on the freshman orientation that we had to do, turns out I did not know this coming from the South and SEC territory that y'all actually play football up north. So that was pretty cool to find out. And I'm excited to see, I don't know if it's two-hand touch or flag. I don't know what version of it that you play, but I'm pretty excited to see exactly what you guys do on the 2 or 3 months that it's not snowing up there. So that's going to be pretty awesome.
We do play some good football up here, although I don't have a good comeback for the SEC because of the fact that they have just been dominant. So, you know, every once in a while somebody else sneaks in there, but you know, the SEC, well, let me not say the whole SEC because I think
just say LSU.
Yeah, LSU, Alabama, and sorry, Mr. Doug Holt, Tennessee might be the new Vanderbilt in the SEC. But
not if you see their GPA. Not if you see their GPA.
But we play some good football. And Wes, you happen to just, you know, join and get into not only the Big Ten, but the school that beat us last year besides Ohio State. So really, I never wanted to go to University of Illinois, barely even applied there. My mom made me. I hate that school. And so, yeah, I'm glad you're going. Can't wait till we can have a Wisconsin-Illinois game together.
Well, Wisconsin was my safety school. I heard they let everybody in. So.
You give a big enough donation, they'll let you in, buddy.
Hey, last thing I want to say before we move on, I don't want you to sleep on August 11th. It's a pretty good day, not just for Larry, but one Bowtie West Breeden turns 40 on that day as well. So I share a very coveted birthday with Mr. Lawrence Newman. So I'm pretty excited to share that day with him. And amongst that is also Hulk Hogan. So if y'all ever want to celebrate Hulk Hogan on that day, you can. And also our original founder of AMBA, David Morgan Sr., his birthday's on August 11th as well. So big day. I would say maybe even bigger than August 1. So.
And just so everybody knows, I absolutely knew that Wes's birthday was that day, along with one of my other buddies' moms, but I just completely put past that by, and I can't believe I was looking at the chat. I was waiting for somebody to say something, but poor old Wes, my buddy, had to mention his own birthday. So, you know, I'm sorry, man. I should have mentioned it. Although at least you didn't get the comments from Aaron that said, "Don't worry, Chris and Larry, you don't look one day over 65." So thanks, Aaron.
Well, we've got a great show lined up tonight. It's kind of the Aetna special. We've got some folks joining us from Aetna itself. We've got Randi McVinnie. Maybe some of you don't know that name because it's the newer one in the AMA, but it's one that's been at the top of the list the last, I don't know, 15, 16 weeks that she's been around, breaking records, breaking awards. And so pretty excited to hear from her, hearing from this rookie class that's coming into AMBA in 2020 and helping us complete this amazing story that's going on through COVID. So looking forward to a great night tonight. And there's going to be a lot of great things to take away from it. So if you're not viewing Badger in the Bow Tie with a notebook and a pen so that you can take some notes, I encourage you to go get one tonight. And with that being said, we will get started.
Awesome. So I am super excited about tonight. Very excited to have Jamie and Kevin here first up to talk about Aetna. And Wes, hang on. I seem to be experiencing a little bit of technical difficulty here.
The Wi-Fi again. I know that last time you had a knot in the string, and that probably didn't help out too well. And then we've got that echo a little bit earlier. I'm just not 100% convinced that you know how to use the internet there, Chris. And then when you keep calling it Wi-Fi, that gives me a lot of suspicions. Lots of suspicions. So
this is just like Superman changing from Badger to Aetna.
Ooh, I love it.
I'll have you guys know that this is the only time on this entire show, and we've had 24 hours of this show, that I have not been in a Badger shirt. So I did this for you. Appreciate you guys. Got my old Aetna shirt.
All right. Thank you.
And the only thing that I'm going to add to this is perhaps we need to pick up our Aetna business if their sponsorship budget is so low that they have to have the Badger Chris Gluck be the one that promotes the thing. So maybe you can give us some insight if Aetna's hurting, struggling, maybe filing for bankruptcy or something. I don't know what's going on here.
So let me just say a couple quick words, and then I'll let you guys take it over. I'll tell you, the Aetna product was something that was just so needed at AMBA. For those of you that have been here for a while and grew up during the long-term care era, you knew that we led with long-term care. Our training led with long-term care. The story that we tell, during FSU talks about long-term care, and the need for long-term care is absolutely there. But also for all of us that have been here for a little while, we know that we have had our heads just banged against the wall a million times trying to just shove that square peg into the round hole, as it relates to long-term care, because the underwriting guidelines change so much. And it's an absolutely awesome product, the filling of the long-term care need. It's out there. Everybody should have it. But if you can't get somebody approved and fill the need, you can't get somebody approved and fill the need. It's not a win for anybody. It's not a win for you, not a win for the association, not a win for the member, not a win for AMBA. So Steve Cardinal, talked to myself first, and then Nancy Kramer really came in and closed the deal, and they were looking at this Aetna product, and he said, listen, if you bring something like this in, we will sell it. This thing looks amazing. We did not even know how amazing the product was until we kind of dove into it a little bit more. But I was fortunate that we got to roll this out first in Wisconsin in 2018. I think it was May of 2018, somewhere right around there. And it just took off. I remember Steve Miller asked me, how many apps do you think you're going to write your first month? And I'm like, I don't know, I think maybe like 25. Well, we wrote 52 apps in that first month, if Leah's numbers recollection serves correctly. And none of us have ever looked back from there. I know it went from Wisconsin to Georgia to Louisiana, and then we rolled it out across all of AMBA. And I will tell you, Kevin, Jamie, your product, I know it's not long-term care, but we can still fill that long-term care need with this Aetna Recovery Care and Home Care Plus product. And I'll tell you, it has absolutely transformed AMBA. It's transformed the agent opportunity, the manager opportunity. It's transformed our association relations. and it has transformed the most important piece, which are our members and our customers and prospects, because we can give them a product that they feel good about, that they understand, and more importantly, they can get approved for. This, in my 13 years at AMBA, I will say that this Aetna product is the biggest game changer that we have ever had. And for those of you that are newer and didn't know any better, just know that you're going to make a lot more money because you're going to have a lot more apps on the books than when a lot of us started and, got placed about 50% of our long-term care. So how's that for an intro, you guys?
You give a man a free shirt, boy, he can go on and on.
I love every bit of that, Chris.
All right. Well, with that said, it's 5:15. Franklin always says I got to be done talking by 5:15. So with that said, I will turn it over to Kevin and Jamie from Aetna, and whoever's going first. And if you guys need to share your screen, go ahead. But you gentlemen are up. Kevin, I think you're on mute, buddy.
How about now? Better?
There we go. I mean, that huge buildup, and then you're on mute.
Story of my life, let me tell you. So if I could, I would have sent you a whole case of shirts, Chris. So let me work on that. That was amazing. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for giving us the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here on the Badger and the bow tie. I won't take up a lot of your time. We're going to get it over to Jamie here in just a minute, but I wanted to share some numbers. Chris and I were talking and wanted to just kind of update you as we are around the midpoint of the year with what Aetna's doing and what AMBA's doing in association with Aetna. First of all, let me say that we as a carrier are having an outstanding year. We're really, honestly, to tell you the truth, we're having our best year ever. So we're very happy about that. We're very happy about the role you're playing. Want to tell everyone or remind you that, our core business is our Medicare supplements, and we're taking in about 1,200 to 14 apps on average per day just in our Medicare supplement business right now. That's across the board from all of our production lineups and all of our distribution channels. So that's really amazing. We're very, very happy about that. Those are like AEP numbers, but we're having them in the middle of the year. So it's surprising, and it's also exciting about what we'll see in AEP. What's put us in that position? We came out really strong over the last 12 to 24 months in some of the key areas where we need competitive rates to really make a difference. And those rates are still competitive, and we look to stay competitive for a long period of time. So we're happy about that. We think we have a long-term strategy in place to help maintain that. In addition to that, speaking more about some of our other products that are not the Med Sup business, our ancillary lineup of products, we're bringing about 500 to 600 apps per day there. And that also is unprecedented. It's about double what we've been used to almost in recent years as far as daily submissions. So certainly AMBA is playing a big part in that. So thank you for that. As you know, you guys, I see Jamie applauding there. That's great. And you guys deserve it. Absolutely. Applause to all of you because you're taking off. You're really excelling with these products. These numbers will show that. This is some numbers that are more specific to you guys. So far through the halfway point or a little past of the year, you've produced as an organization about $7.5 million in annualized premium, which puts you at about 7th place among all our NMOs. And when we talk about NMOs, that is our top level connections, our top level distribution channel partners, of which we only have about 20 to 25 or so. And AMBA is one of those, of course. Now, what you don't see on this screen that I think you'll find very interesting is that for all of last year, you produced just about 8.5 million. So you're well on track to eclipse that and beyond. So that's amazing. That is a really, really awesome point that I hope everyone is patting yourself on the back for. Thank you. Beyond that, in specific, the products that you as an organization excel in the most, as Chris set up, the short-term care products, recovery care and home care plus, just over 5 million so far in recovery care sales, which accounts for 69% of our overall business on that product. So by and far leading the pack with that product, and we appreciate that. And then the same can be said, lesser numbers, but still, I mean, that's expected with the way that product works on the Home Care Plus, and just sort of being a substitution with the lesser underwriting for the as opposed to the recovery care. You're right that almost just short of 2 million as of today, and that accounts for 63% of our overall business there. So again, amazing. By and large, our leaders with that product, thank you. And then we also want to just pat our top producers on the back really quickly. I know some of them, but not all of them, are on the podcast probably today. First, we have it broken down by overall product production. So not just the recovery care and Home Care Plus products, but for those that may be writing a little bit of Med Sup and maybe some other products. So you can see Leo's there on top, which I do know Leo's dialed in. I saw you there. Thank you, Leo. Really appreciate your dedicated and committed effort to these products. And then Marshall, Timothy, James, and Tara round out the top 5 on all products. And then when you get into the top producers, there, of course, is Leo again, Marshall, Tara, and Patricia pops in there along with James, still rounding out the top 5. So awesome job, everyone. If you don't happen to find yourself on that list, you're writing a lot of Aetna business, we still appreciate you very much. You may just be right behind number 5, number 6, and couldn't quite fit you on the page, but I would certainly want to recognize all of you. You really have done amazing work for us this year, and I know it's going to continue. And as always, we appreciate it, and we will continue to do anything and everything we can to help you. If you run into issues or concerns, filter those through Chris, filter those through Wes, and we're always going to be attentive in all we can to help work and correct to make these things even easier for you than they are now. And that's all I really had. Again, thank you, Jamie. And you know, I'll stick around if there's any questions or feedback or anything like that. But Jamie, do you have anything you want to show?
Yeah, just a little bit here. Let me take the screen. Oh, let's see. Can I start?
Kevin might need to stop sharing. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to show a couple things here, but let me just take 30 seconds and thank Chris and Wes for having us on tonight. Kevin and I have been looking forward to this for the past couple of weeks since we found out we were going to be on. So thank you. It's always good to spend time with all of you. Of course, we'd rather be in person, but we all know what's going on. And I say this every time we have a get-together like this, that I remember going into Chris's office there in Chicago, and we were presenting for the first time, and we were very excited. We were looking for the right group that would appreciate what the plan was, because we worked so hard building it. And you guys came through. You know, I brag on you all the time. I do it even when I'm not talking to you. I brag on ANBA. So I want to say thank you. Kevin and I appreciate all the business. Everyone at the home office appreciates everything you do, because I know, we know what it's like to have to get up every day, and, you know, a Monday, you got to start your week, because you're only as good as your last week of production, right? And you got to get it going, and all of you do, especially in these times where we're surprising ourselves by selling over the phone, Zoom meetings. It's amazing. So I'm just going to take a couple of minutes and tell you what is working right now. You know, a Zoom meeting has done a couple of things, because you all know that I still produce, have agents that produce. And what we're finding is with a Zoom meeting, we're able to connect more, and I'm sure you all are finding the same thing, with that individual, and the trust is better, much better, because you're not just a voice, they can see you. We can show actually more of the, I guess, the tools that we used to sell, like this one. The cost of readmissions. we're using this in Zoom meetings to show here's why Medicare keeps changing and why it's so expensive, and why there's a need out there. Chris said it exactly right. You've got to get the need through, or it doesn't really matter what the price is. I can sit and listen to someone on the phone and they'll come all the way down. Believe it or not, you all know you can do this. You can go down to $24 a month with a recovery care. And they say, no, I just don't want that. That's because the need wasn't there. So using these tools like this slide, cost of hospital readmissions, preventable readmissions cost Medicare $17 billion. You can see also about 1 in 5 Medicare patients are readmitted within 30 days. This has to do with the penalties that are being imposed on hospitals by Medicare, and they're losing their money. So observation is a big deal. What we're also showing is the Medicare book, because we all know everyone has this Medicare book. It doesn't matter what association they're with, if they're retired school teachers or pipe fitters, whatever they might be, everyone that's 65 and over on Medicare has this book. So when you can tell them, even if they're not in a Zoom meeting, you can say, Mrs. Jones, go to page 28. Go ahead, find your book, get your book, bring it back, open to page 28. You see it there at the top where it says, am I an inpatient or outpatient? Without a formal inpatient admission, you're still an outpatient. You must be admitted to a hospital inpatient for 3 midnights in order for Medicare to pay 20 days of skilled care. Now, I know you all know this and you've seen this, but this really works well over the phone because they get to kind of connect with you, whether it's, like I said, whether it's a Zoom meeting or not. They're looking at what you're looking at, and you're reading it word for word to them. So it takes them down the path to the close. And don't forget this, I just have a couple of more slides. I think it's important to download this Medicare outpatient observation notice, the MOON document, because you can show where you're a hospital outpatient receiving observation services. You're not an inpatient because they're going to give the reason right there. And it's going to explain observation services affect coverage and payment of your care after you leave a hospital. So it spells it out for them. And when you can explain, hey, if they bring you this form into your hospital room within the first 24 hours you've been there, you know you're not an inpatient. And guess what? It's too late for us to do anything to help you. So they have to sign the back of that form, timestamp it, date it. It's a very big deal. So these are just some of the tools that we're using over the phone. And like I said, Zoom is great. I think you do get more premium. You get the need across. You can show everything. But all of you are amazing at what you do, and you understand this plan. And it takes people like yourselves, a team like yourselves that knows long-term care, knows how necessary long-term care is, and know that there are alternatives to long-term care when it's necessary, whether it be because of health or because of price. You guys are doing an amazing job, and we, like I said, we appreciate you so much. So just keep it up. We're here for you if you need anything. And thank you for being on us, letting us be on tonight.
Awesome. Well, we're not letting you go just yet. So I got a couple questions for you. The biggest question that has come across so far is, can we get some sort of slide deck that you just showed here? Like, can we have access to these slides or some part of these slides?
Yes, I will get you all of these slides.
All right.
Anything you want, I will duplicate and give you. What I'll do is I'll try to put a package together that I've seen work, like these certain slides I just showed you. There's a few more that you can do, and I don't know if if you're aware, most of you might know that you can play the video, you know, the famous video of the lady that spent $28,000 in observation that NBC put out there. Zoom is one of the only platforms you can play video. I strongly suggest if you have a Zoom meeting, show that video. I promise you it will help you close the sale. So just want to throw that out there too. But yes, you'll have access to all of these.
And that video, I think Jake Baumgartner, who leads our FSUs, our training, does have that. And if not, for some reason, you check with your individual manager. But you know, Jake just kind of messaged me, let me know if we can put that on SharePoint, and I can absolutely get it to you because I do have that saved in my YouTube channel. So awesome.
I have a question, Chris. You know, earlier in the call, Kevin was talking about sales are up, not just in AMBA, but Aetna's having a great year as well. Is that because more people are coming aware of the product? Is it because of, with COVID out there, people have it, you know, on the brain that they need to take care of this a little bit more? I mean, you know, when you look at numbers and statistics and all that today, you would think anyone dealing in the senior population where people are locked up and can't get out should be having a bad year. So I know a lot of the reasons why we're having a good year, but what do you think is the reason you're having a good year?
Great question. And I think probably the biggest factor has been we've just really come out with very competitive prices as far as our med sup goes. And in addition to having not only one competitive med sup, we launched a second med sup back in March. It's still being launched. It's not even in every state yet. It has a very different pricing strategy. So our core product is designed with one pricing strategy, and this new one, which is called Ascendo, in case anyone's heard of it, it has a different pricing strategy with a larger household discount. But in addition to that being sort of the main or core reason, I think also us being proactive with how we approached educating and communicating with our distribution about what to do during the pandemic has helped quite a bit. And it's gotten us just talking to more clients. It's gotten Aetna a little ahead of the game. I think those are the biggest factors.
You know, and MJ here in the comments section seems to be one of your biggest fans, saying that the pricing strategy is 100% correct because she's taken the leftover dollars and enrolling them in something else to bridge the difference. And so that's amazing. And that's amazing hearing it from you. It's amazing reading it from MJ. So
one of the other things that I was,
yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I'll just really quickly chime in. I think today alone, between myself and my team, we've probably saved, on a regular basis, we're saving people somewhere between $20 and $160 was the biggest one that I did the other day. And we're able to use that money and repurposing it for other products to be able to give them other coverage. So thank you so much for that product.
Great.
That's amazing. I love that mentality. Thank you for embracing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we will also put that link in the email that Wes sends out after the recording download. So we'll make sure that we have that YouTube link in there. And then I was just chatting with Jake. We'll get it on SharePoint as well. But if you don't have a YouTube channel made up for yourself, where you could kind of just easily click on, you know, add to, and save a lot of these really good YouTube links. You should set one up, you know, on your phone or on your tablet or, you know, laptop. It's easy to just save them all in there. A question that comes up from time to time, you guys, is about the rates. So I think if I remember correctly, the product started in 1996 and there's never been a change in rates. Can you guys kind of just speak to that, how rates have been able to be stable? You know, nothing's guaranteed in the future, of course, but just what your thought process is about the rates having been stable for so long and what it looks like into the future.
Yeah, Jamie has a great spiel on this, so I'll let him go. But first, before he does, I'll just say that, yeah, I mean, our actuaries have designed these types of products like Recovery Care, like Home Care Plus, and our other ancillary products with the mindset that we don't ever want to have to do a rate increase. We think that's what's going to help us stand out as a differentiator in the market. So we've designed them so we don't have to. Will we? You know, I can't say it with 100% certainty, but I think we have a much, much better chance than some of the other carriers out there of maintaining these rates, because that's been our strategy all along. And I'll let you go, Jamie.
No, you said it. We have great actuaries, and you know, when we say that we've had this product since 1996 for the Home Care Plus, 1997 for it was called nursing facility care. It's still available in some states that AMBA does sell. You're right, they've never seen a rate increase, and a lot does go into it. You know, there aren't a lot. If you ever look at our products, you say, wow, I wish it had an inflation rider. Wow, I wish it had this, and wow, I wish it had that. When you start adding those things, there's uncertainty that goes along with pricing it and what's going to happen in the future with that pricing. So that's why we stick to the core principles of long-term care. Let's make sure it covers skilled intermediate custodial care. Let's have it to where they can go to any nursing home. Let's even have it to where they can go to any assisted living facility, and let's have it to where they can have any type of home health care they want. That should be good enough. So, you know, and a product such as short-term care, and again, I don't like saying short-term care. It sounds negative compared to long-term care, but, you know, they're just not on claim as long the company understands how old these people are. They understand what health conditions are acceptable and what's not. Just like when we have a reject, I spoke with underwriting today. They said we have 5% rejected on recovery care. So now I think that's very good, you know, compared to long-term care. Now, if my app is one of those 5, oh, darn it, why they have to reject mine? There's a reason. We want to keep the integrity of the policy and the coverage, and it's a healthy pool of business. And you've also got to pay out claims, but we do that very well. Aetna's very good. They're proud to pay the claim. Believe it or not, they want to pay the claim if it's supposed to be paid. They do not want to reject a plan, rescind a plan. So I'm rambling here, but a lot of everything goes into it. But Kevin, you're exactly right. It's great actuaries and just making sure it's priced the right way.
So two claim questions just popped up on the chat here. And Ryan said, has Aetna seen an increase in claims over the past few months due to COVID? And then Leo followed it up with, do you anticipate any changes in the underwriting due to COVID? So I don't know if those are any questions that you have any thoughts or have any comments on, but those were two that just popped up.
Yeah, great questions. And, you know, while I can't give you definitive answers because I don't know the future on one of those questions, I can say that no, we haven't seen an overwhelming increase in claims or even an increase at all. Now, when I first talked with Chris a week or so ago about preparing for being on the show, he had brought up claims as something, and I'll let you down. I didn't go get as much claims info as I should have, but that may be a good subject if you want to have us on again in the future. Hint, hint. Maybe we should talk more about claims next time, but I don't have a lot of specific data, but I have had a recent conversation with our claims department about, you know, increased claims, and there really hasn't been, especially not on these products, not to what we've seen and dealt with so far. As far as future rate increases, or what was the second half of that question? Let me go back and look and see if I saw it in the chat.
Yeah,
changes in the underwriting. Yeah, I don't anticipate that. I think this product is here to stay the way it is. If we ever were going to change the underwriting, we'd have to launch a new product, and I don't foresee that in the near future at all, or even long-term future.
kind of funny, Wes. I mean, every time that we have Melissa from Cigna on, she's got claims information all over the place. It's one of the first things she leads with. Yeah.
She's a dog. She's good at what she does.
Right. Sorry, I had to give you guys a hard time there.
Hey, your shirt just turned into a Cigna shirt.
That's right.
You know, I'm so glad your camera didn't come on while you were changing that.
That's right. Hey, I don't even have a shirt from Cigna. All right, so you know, when Melissa's on, she doesn't get quite the intro. So all right, I got one more question for you, and then Wes, you may have one to wrap up. And this one is extremely important. So you know, whoever wants to take it, get ready. You know, with that huge percentage, you know, of your overall recovery care business and then just overall business, with all that AP, you know, that those top 5 are writing, I know my region writes about 71% of our AP is Aetna, and overall, I think the company average for I was sorry, just checking my text from Liz bothering me. Sorry about that. The company percentage is like the mid 60s, so it's significant. Would you guys say that we are the soothsayers of short-term care?
That was terrible.
I would say that.
That was a great question.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
that was a great question.
Well, I'll do a better question than that. Before we let you guys go tonight, and clearly Chris is working his material out, and he'll do better next time. I'll do that. You know,
Go back to the drawing board on that one.
This has not been one of our longest partnerships because we're still kind of this new phase with each other, but it is, you know, fastly growing to be one of the in-depth partnerships that we have with our carrier partners out there. And so since the kind of the new has been worn off a little bit, is there anything that you guys can tell us that we could be doing better, should be doing better, or should be looking in a direction that we're not currently doing? Because as someone that's been at AMBA for 17 years, I know we can get into that one-trick pony mode, or we don't like change sometimes. But is there anything that you see some of the organizations that you're working on out there outside of the AMBA sphere? Ambosphere. Write that one down, Chris. That was a good one too. Outside of what we're doing here, that maybe we should be leveraging, or something that we could be doing to be better partners to Aetna.
It's a really great question, and I think, you know, certainly we always want to get better at everything we do. You're very good at what you do now. In fact, a point that I forgot to make when I showed the numbers earlier was that you guys are number 7 out of our top level partners currently through the year. And you may think, gosh, we work hard and we're only 7th. Well, that's really amazing considering that our other 20 plus partners are writing other business. They're not just mainly focused on these short-term products. They're writing a lot of Medicare supplement business. So you're writing so much of that. It's amazing. We love it. Jamie and I travel the country trying to find people who can do what you can do. There's very few out there that can even come close, let alone actually do what you're doing. But with all that being said, if you were looking for something to improve on, you know, I personally would like to see more opportunity with some of our other products, if that's ever a possibility. You know, we certainly would want to help and support with that, because I think what we do when we look at our partners is we look at what all can you do with our entire lineup of products, not just this one or that one or these 2 or 3. So, but with that being said, I mean, I don't think there's much that we're unhappy about. We really like what you're doing.
That's awesome. That was an awesome plug.
So you give Chris Gluck a few more shirts. There's no telling what type of business to start writing. So,
Wes, we got to get you a shirt.
I agree.
We're going to get you.
Yeah. This is a true story. Every day I jump on a Zoom call, at least one Zoom call a week from Chris. And this guy's got shaken down more company for swag than anybody else. And so I'm clearly not asking the right people or talking to the right people, because I don't know if Chris owns one shirt that he's actually bought himself. So
My favorite shirt is my Wisconsin Badger shirt that Franklin had to buy for me when he lost a challenge to me a couple of years ago. So love you, Franklin. But with that said, Kevin, I love your plug for some of the other products that you guys have, and who knows, at some point that may happen. But at this point, I will just say again, and I truly did mean what I said at the beginning, is that the Aetna product has been an absolute game changer for people. It's been a game changer, for the clients, for the association, for the reps, and for our prospects. And Franklin, I will throw you a good plug here. I read something in your Slack that if you guys have had a question or needed a little extra help or an issue come up, with an Aetna issue, with an Aetna plan or program or question, it's one of these two guys or Leah, that has answered it. And so we appreciate that you're always there for us. You get back to us, super quick. And we just know that it takes a lot of different spokes in the wheel to make it go around. And you guys have definitely done an awesome job of continuing to help us increase our sales and serve our clients and help the wheel go around. So with that said, we truly appreciate you guys coming on tonight. Jamie, I like the fact that you already changed your background, so that's awesome. And feel free to stick around, but I know it is getting late, and I know one of you, I think, are on East Coast time, so I know it's getting late, but feel free to stick around. But honestly, thanks again for coming on, sharing the information, and being an awesome partner. So let's give it up for Aetna, Kevin and Jamie.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Really
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Anytime, guys.
Great night, everyone. Yep, I'll get the slides, everything to you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Care.
Sounds good. Then we'll put all that stuff in that one email that Wes sends out, the slides, the YouTube link, etc.
Yeah. I mean, we've got some great partners that we partner with, Chris, and that's one thing that is a truly an AMBA advantage, is that, our partnerships don't go real wide. They just go real deep. And so when the time comes that we need things like, some of these bonus opportunities that are paid out or sponsored by Aetna or Cigna or whatever it may be, when it's a problem that we have, we can pick up the phone and give them a ring. Just last week we were having an issue with some of our short-term cares being delayed and getting processed and mailed out quick enough. And I called Leah and she says, don't worry about it. We're going to start moving the AMBA apps to the front of the line. And so things like that is part of not just the value that our carriers have, but the value that we have right here at AMBA when you decide to make AMBA your home, from the bonuses to the carriers, to the opportunity, to the awards, all that kind of great stuff. It makes it pretty awesome to be a part of here. So I'm scared that when Chris's screen goes off, that we might see something that we don't want to see accidentally. So looking good, looking buff now, man, with it over your deal. You might want to go to the beach like that.
This I feel, now I feel comfortable again. I feel back at home. That was a little weird. That was about 30 minutes of, just me not feeling quite right here on Badger and the bow tie. Cool.
All right.
Yeah, we ready for our next guest?
I think we are. I've watched this superstar from afar. I haven't got an opportunity to see her on a Zoom call and interact with her quite as much as I would like, but can't wait to hear and get to know her a little bit better. And I'm sure the AMBA family feels the exact same way.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have Randi McVinnie come up next. And we have in Titlebound, I've been trying to kind of change things up and think about, what else can we do besides just traditional training, which we do a ton of it, on Badger and the bow tie. You go through numbers, you go through scorecards. There's many different things. And so recently and Wes had mentioned kind of, this new class this year of folks that have joined us. And we absolutely have some superstars all around AMBA, not just the Titlebound region, but I've instituted this get to know Titlebound, or a Titlebound talk. And so the last 3 weeks, I've had somebody from kind of this new class this year, and on our Monday morning region call, talk, share some information about who they are, their background, just really anything, just kind of get to know each other. And I just felt that it was really important because we haven't, in this time where we're getting to know each other only through a camera and not face to face, not everybody gets an opportunity to meet everybody like we normally would, especially not having 3 in-person blitzes throughout the year where we all get together. So Randi was up 2 weeks ago and just blew me away. I mean, knocked my socks off with her presentation and what she had to say, who she is as a person. And there's many great things to say about Randi, but she's only been with us since April of this year. She's won all her Stone Awards, her Fast Start 1, her Fast Start 2. I think by last count, she's 24,000 points away from her MGD with 2.5 weeks to go. So I know that she will be the second Mustang Grand Diamond winner out of the great state of Wisconsin, and has just been an absolute superstar from the get-go. When MJ interviewed her and I talked to her, I said, you know what? This is one of the next greats here at AMBA. So Randi, with that said, Amba, give it up for Randi McVinnie, and I'll turn the mic over to you.
Thanks, everyone. So I just kind of wanted to reference back to earlier in the call when Aetna was on, and just kind of talk about a few things that I really got from that. That Ascendo plan that came out in March, I actually found it by accident one day. I was going into Quota MedSup, and I saw that there was a second choice in there. First thing I did was text MJ and I said, what is this? Can I sell it? It's way cheaper than the other one. And she ended up looking into it for me. We were good to go with it. And I probably on average selling 4 to 6 of them, of those Ascendo plans per week, just myself. If you haven't looked at it yet, it's a wonderful, wonderful product. The call I actually just got off of before we came on here tonight, a couple was spending over $670 between the 2 of them on their Medicare supplements. With the Ascendo plan, they dropped down to $277 combined with all the discounts we could stack for them, and then ended up turning around using that money they saved and writing 2 recovery cares as well. So that plan is wonderful, and it's a great opportunity for you to open the gates for other things with the money that they saved and already have budgeted for themselves as well. Something that stuck out for me this last month or so, since Wes really talked about it a few weeks back, was the people that don't have the Aetna products aren't because they don't want the Aetna products, it's because they can't medically qualify. And if you ever hear me on any of my calls, one of my famous one-liners is, the hardest part of my job is catching folks before something happens. And that is so true, I think, for all of us, and just really driving that home, that we do our best to get in front of as many retirees a week as we can, talk to them about this product. And this is something that once you get it, you're not going to want to let go. So yeah, and then also too, with it, with the recovery care product specifically, I don't know about you guys, but everyone I talk to, folks want to stay home. They don't want to go to a traditional nursing home now. 10, 15 years ago, when LTC insurance was out there and that's the only choice folks had, they jumped on it because it's all they knew. There's a lot more choices for them out there. And how I always present it to folks, I always try to use the example of short-term disability from when they were working. And say, this plan works very similar to that, where you're in the driver's seat, you're in control with where the money goes. That money's paid directly to your family, just like a paycheck. The amount you sign up for is the amount you get based on the number of days that you use, and any surplus of that money. I know here in Wisconsin, our care is a little bit cheaper than it is in some of the metro areas. So I always use the example of, if they have the $300 a day level plan, and that's equivalent to $9,000 per month. Care here right now is about $4,400 per month. So that other $4,500 of surplus that they're getting is completely theirs to save, to help self-insure them for the future in the event they would need long-term care insurance down the road. So that's how I always sell it. It makes a lot more sense to folks when I explain it to them, how that benefit's paid directly to them. If that benefit's never used, that money gets passed on to their family because it's the money that they have, the benefit level they have signed up for, that's theirs, and they own that plan. And there's just a huge breath of relief when you talk to them about being able to maximize the dollars that they pay out for things, being able to pass on to their family versus just going off to, you know, the government or going off to an insurance company that they may or may not ever see again. So those are just a couple little tips and tricks that I use on those two products specifically. If you guys have not gone to Aetna's website and checked out the About Us section on their senior, it's aetnaseniorproducts.com. Go to the About Us section and learn about them as a company. You know, learn that they're based out of Franklin, Tennessee, which is right outside of Nashville. Know that they've been in the senior product business since 1983. Those things build you so much street cred when you are talking to folks about the plan itself and the carrier and what they're doing and how they are just constantly evolving to make a better product for all of us to sell. So highly recommend you guys to check that out. And then when I do sell a product with Aetna, I always send a follow-up email directing them to Aetna's site as well to create their own login and account. Once their policy arrives, they're able to print their own ID cards. Anyone who travels, I always say, this is great to have. If you're ever away from home and something happens, you have access to this all the time. So I always drive them there as well. So just another tool in the toolbox for everyone to use for that. So
Awesome.
yeah. And so I'm going to share my screen here.
Some awesome tips, Randy. I know a few people are saying that in the chat too, so thank you for sharing.
Yeah, so like Chris said, thank you. The presentation I gave a few weeks ago is what I'm basically going to duplicate tonight. It's going to kind of tell you guys a little bit about me. I'm going to wind in some personal stories about my own personal life, past leadership mentors that I've had, and then just really tie it to kind of some of the struggles that all of us as sales reps just go through every single day with battling with ourselves. So here we go. All right. Can you guys see that?
All good.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna just pull this up. All right. All right. So this is, I call this the lies we tell ourselves and need to stop believing. As sales reps, we are our own worst enemy in terms of the mind games that we play with ourselves, standing in our own way of telling ourselves we can't do something, or saying that it is impossible for me to do. And so that's what this whole presentation is built around. Myself, I have gone on quite a self-development journey. I was divorced about 3 years ago. And since then, I've really started to pick up books again and do audiobooks and learn a lot about who I wanted to be and what I really wanted to stand for and just facing some of my demons. And one of the most recent books that I've read that has been really, really influential to me here is called Get Out of Your Own Way. It's a skeptic's guide to growth and fulfillment. It's by Dave Hollis, his wife, Rachel. You've probably heard like Girl Wash Your Face is one of her books. But I really didn't resonate with kind of how her voice was in the books. But this book here, if you guys have not read it or have not used an audiobook, I highly recommend downloading it and reading it. It has 20 different points in there about the lies we tell ourselves on a daily basis and how he personally has overcome them and tips and tricks to do so yourself. I picked out 10 of the 20 of these and tied them into what we do every single day. And so that's what I'm going to share with you guys this evening. So lie number 1. So my work is who I am. I don't know how many times, because I live with an accountant, that the second thing that Jeff says when he introduces himself to somebody is that, oh, I'm a CPA. People identify with who they are and what they do so much. As sales reps, unfortunately, there's a really bad rap with something when you say, hey, I'm a salesperson. People just instantly have a wall up or a guard up, or, oh, what do you sell? Or what are you going to try to sell me next? But the thing is that we are so much more than that. Something that was really attractive to me when I came to AMBA and started getting recruited is that the sales position was called benefit advisor, not sales agent. And that's truly what we do, is we advise people, and we are experts in our field, but we are also tons of other things. We're, you know, aunts and uncles and cousins and coworkers and mothers and fathers and friends and all these things. And so trying to juggle that, we are so much more than just benefit advisors. And so this whole presentation tonight that I've created is just really about trying to find a way to just create harmony within all those things. So next one was the things that have worked will work. For anyone that has been here pre-COVID or in this industry pre-COVID, has to look at things a little bit differently right now. For those of you that are brand new to the industry and like Wes, I kind of don't know any different, you're probably going to hear stories at conferences or meetings about, oh, well, we used to do things this way, or this used to work, or that used to work. We are in an age where nobody knows the answer right now. Nobody knows how long this COVID is going to last or when it's going to be done. And so we are constantly needing to retool, retrain, ask more questions, seek out guidance with other people, and just practice and do different things to constantly make ourselves better. So next slide is, I have it all together. So I always joke that I always call myself a hot mess express, that things are not what they seem on the outside. I think for any of us, I think we all are trying to look really calm, cool, and collected on the outside, but on the inside, we are all trying to hit sales goals or hit a certain, you know, stone ranking or make a trip or whatever it may be. And no matter how good you get, you're never going to be 100%. For somebody like me who I'm never happy with where I'm at, this was probably one of the hardest pills I've ever had to swallow, that I'm just never going to know everything. I'm never going to, you know, and I know Wes and Chris have been here a long time, you know, and they can go out and do the presentation backwards and in their sleep, you know, but they're still going to say my presentation isn't 100%. There's always new ways to tool it and make it better and sharpen the saw, per se. One of my mentors that I had at a past role always used the example of the graceful swan mentality. So when you go out and you see this beautiful big bird, you know, coasting across the top of the water so gracefully, so effortlessly, what they're really doing underwater is paddling like crazy. And they look wonderful and beautiful on the outside, but what they're really doing behind that is a ton of hard work. And so that's what I think we can always strive to do as agents, as when we go out and talk with retirees, is we always want to look like the graceful swan to them. We always want to look like, you know what, we were super prepared for this call. We had all of our paperwork, you know, done, our quotes ran. We just had all of our true ducks in a row. But the truth is there was a lot of work that got us to that spot. So just always remembering that graceful swan mentality, and every single one of us that are in sales lives by that every day. So the next slide is, everyone is thinking about what I'm doing. This is one that I really struggled with early on in my career. I was always, you know, looking at the numbers each week of my team, my region, our company as a whole, and oh my gosh, are they going to know if I, you know, left early on a Wednesday because I had a doctor's appointment, or if I, you know, didn't make that call back that I was supposed to do because I just forgot, or whatever it may be. No one is worried about what you're doing. No one is thinking about that, because everyone's trying to worry about themselves. So that was a lie personally that I really struggled with, of, you know, oh, I can't do this because someone's going to find out. One of my other mentors that I had many years ago always used the tagline BYOB. And unfortunately, that's not bring your own beer. It is be your own boss. And he always said, if you want to be your own boss, you better be a good one. So there is no position, I think, in the entire world other than sales, especially independent sales, where we rely on our own accountability any higher. You know, one more call. I think Leo and Marshall, I've heard them say that on our region calls plenty of times. You know, oh, I just made one more call on a Saturday and it turned into this big sale. Or I just made one more call that night instead of hanging up for the evening and spending it with my family. That one more call story has definitely been something that anybody in probably our top 100 agents can tell you an example of. But time is limited, and it's really the only asset that we have in sales. And so I'm going to get onto that a little bit more on the next slide. But last but not least on this one is there are no warranties or guarantees. When we get off the phone with a retiree, there's no guarantee that we are going to make that product stick and they're going to have it forever and they're never going to leave us. There's just the guarantee that we did the best job we could for them. And the choice is up to theirs at that point. You know, MJ always says, you know, some will, some won't, who cares, who's next? You know, just keep moving on. There's people that are just gonna make your life hard and not to take it personal. So the next lie is failure means you're weak. So 0 weeks, I know this is something we've talked about in our region specifically pretty recently. About what that looks like and understanding, you know what, there are circumstances that come up where it happens, but definitely, obviously trying to avoid that as much as possible, and you avoid that by doing the work. There's heightened fears. So right now, there's a lot of people I've heard, not only in our industry, but other sales functions as well, that are using COVID as an excuse. There's no end in sight. People don't want to buy right now. People don't want to spend money right now. We are so blessed to work with a population that overall, for the most part, has a fixed income. So a lot of them aren't being affected by what's going on out there with COVID at all. And so that's something that I always like to bring it back to. If somebody's giving you the excuse of, oh, we just don't want to spend the money right now because we don't know, I always just bring it back to the fact that they probably have a fixed income. Canceled appointments is something that I think we all deal with as well. Again, you can't control what you can't control. Keep making the calls. And like I said, time is your only real asset, and you guys can't create more of it, but you can definitely use it better. So failure is just a matter of not using the tools in front of you and not asking for help when you need it. So the lie, I can phone it in and be just fine. So like I said, in this industry, we are Randy at AMBA party of one. There is no one who's going to do the work for us. There's no one who's going to do our data entry into View. There's no one who's going to fill out our 9-liner and send it off to your manager by the cutoff dates. We do not have a clerical staff to answer and field our phone calls from us. So just because you started a business and you're in business for yourself doesn't mean that you get the perks that other people get that have been doing it for 10 or 15 years. And so that's something that I always like to talk to everyone about, whether you're a new agent or old. The call me back or just send me some information. This one here screams to me that that customer is way more interested in information collecting than they are making a buying decision. I always like to go back to, in a past life, I sold Medicare Advantage plans, and the Medicare as a whole is governed by CMS, which is the Center for Medicare Services. And they have very strict guidelines on marketing to seniors. And I always like to share that with retirees and say, you know, my job is to make sure that I'm only giving you information that is, one, that you're interested in, and two, that you qualify for. And so I just snip that conversation right in the bud, and I just say, you know, I'd love to send you some information, but I can't send you anything that you don't qualify for. So let's start there. It's just a really good way, instead of ending that phone call, to get back into the conversation. So don't make the mistake in investing money that you're never going to see again. And that is your time as well. So there's a lot of things that we do as sales reps that don't make us money, but there's a lot of things that we chase down or spend time doing that are never going to come to fruition. And so unfortunately, this has just been a trial and error situation for myself. There was the conversation, you know, I've been in insurance for 11 years, and I think it was about a day and a half ago, I called MJ and she was talking me off the ledge about some situation with some lady who was upset about something. And she's like, don't worry about it. You know, you're never going to see this again. So none of us are immune to that. It's going to show up, and it's going to show up again and again throughout our careers. And again, just going back to it, we have no employees to delegate to. Being in a business for yourself, you get all the wins and you get all the losses. Next one. So I know what they need. So this one here is the fake it till you make it is dangerous. This is not an industry or a population of customers that we work with where we can make assumptions about anything. We need to ask the questions, and the better we know them, the more they're going to trust us. You know, again, MJ uses the example all the time that this is the generation that said, never give out your social security number. Don't give out your banking information over the phone. Don't talk to strangers. You know, so these folks have a heightened sense of fear already. Unfortunately, because of a lot of bad scams in the past, this population has been taken for advantage of a lot. And so I always just try to default back to the I'm going to find out for you. If somebody is not comfortable with something or you don't know the answer to something, people in this generation don't want to be sugarcoated. They don't want to be told something that isn't true. They would much rather have you just be upfront with them and say, you know what, Mrs. Jones, I don't know the answer to that, but let me get it for you and I'll get back to you, because they like absolute certainty. Next thing on this slide here is the only thing that's going to get you street cred is doing the work. So whether that is some of us veteran agents that say, you know, I've been in insurance for 10 years, or I've been in insurance for 18 years, or I've been an AMBUS for 17 years, whatever that may be. For the newer agents, it may even be, you know, I sold 5 of these policies last week. That just came out of my mouth 2 hours ago when I was on the phone with this last couple. I was just sharing about, talking about the Ascendo plan. I said, I sold 5 of these Ascendo plans and saved people money last week. So you don't have to be here for years upon years to necessarily have that street cred. You can build that slowly and reference just last week's numbers and what you've been doing as well. Last thing on this slide that I want to just mention too is that, when people say, you know, did I catch you at a bad time? That's one that I've always thought of as, if it was really a bad time, why are you answering the phone? So, you know, we are interrupting them and we're all busy. And so just getting to the point right away, get them talking right away. It's all going to work out for you guys better in the long run. So next lie is, I know what you've been through. So don't assume anything ever. I can't tell you how many times when I was early on in my career and selling whole life policies, I would walk up to somebody's house or pull into their driveway and I would instantly say, these people are never going to buy from me. These people don't have money for this. These people aren't going to, you know, they're not going to be interested today. I'm never going to be able to close them. And I have came out with sales that I never in a million years pulling into that driveway thought I was going to walk out with. You know, there's one thing that I've heard a lot, you know, that less words win. Let them do, like, again, let them do the talking, hear their story. And so with my story specifically, this is something that I don't necessarily, I shared a lot in my work setting, but I don't share it a lot in my personal life. But I was 28 years old. I was 11 weeks pregnant with my last child, and I ended up just going in for a regular routine exam. It was on a Thursday. That following Tuesday, I got a call back from the clinic saying that I had stage 4 cervical cancer, and they wanted me to terminate my pregnancy and start chemotherapy right away. Thank goodness I bought a cancer plan from one of my friends that was working for AFLAC in their early 20s, hoping that I never ever would have to use it. But that plan ended up paying over $16,000 to my family over the course of 18 months. Those plans make sense for everyone. No one is immune to cancer. No one's immune to heart attacks. No one's immune to a car accident. The car accident story is one that I use pretty often up here in Wisconsin with our icy roads. I always say, you know, they're called an accident, not an on purpose. None of us want that. And no matter how good of a driver we are, we have to rely on everybody else paying attention and being a good driver too. And just making sure you have that coverage is just super important. So again, just you never know what people have been through. Just because they're younger, just because they're in great health, doesn't make them any safer for what's in store for tomorrow. And I think we all have a great story of someone probably close to us that we can share along the way. Like MJ always says, stories sell, you know, and it's true. So if you don't have a personal one yourself, reach out to your team, reach out to your region, reach out to your manager, and I guarantee they have a whole list of them for you to be able to share until you start getting claims and situations of your own. So let's see here. Next one is things that are possible for other people aren't possible for me. So first thing here, so the leaderboard. So if you have not looked at the top 10 agents in AMBA, aren't watching those reports, if you don't know that Leo and Marshall and Aaron are the top 3 agents consistently, you need to pay more attention to your reports. Plain and simple. Those 3 agents and probably everybody in the top 100 is probably going to tell you the same thing again, that they always have a deal in mind. As the conversation changes from everything from the hello, how are you? Where did you teach at? What did you do? What are you interested in? How many grandkids do you have? The product and deals that you have working on in your head are constantly spinning and reprioritizing. Our script is wonderful and great, and the better you know it, the better you're able to rearrange it based on the needs of the person that you're talking to. Being able to catch their attention early on, you know, and maybe moving Massa to the front because that's what's really going to catch their attention, and being able to know your script enough to be able to do that and then adjust back is absolutely priceless. Next thing on here for this one is just creating good habits. You know, whether that is, you know, I just can speak really fluently for our region and the conversations we have, hearing from Leo and Marshall almost weekly on their numbers for being in the top 5. They have good habits. They're making the calls. They're calling during peak hours. They're using their time effectively. And just doing the work. Anyone who's hitting any numbers, everybody who made the trip last year, if you're going to ask them, you know, oh, what's the secret, or what did you do to hit this? Every single one of them is going to say, I just did the work. And it is more important now than ever to do that. And so showing your work like 6th grade math, I always use this example of when we're working with our retirees that we do need to talk to them and work through processes with them, just like they're our own grandparents. If you're going to explain how to do something, show your work like 6th grade math. So just take it down a notch. We do this every day. We talk this language. We walk this walk and talk this talk. These people don't. You know, again, I know that Jamie had mentioned it. Wes had mentioned it. Jake had mentioned it on the Massa Badger and the Bowtie a few weeks ago. But that Medicare and You book, if you don't have one, whether a physical copy or a digital copy, and haven't read through it, I highly recommend you take the time to do so. Make some highlights in it. In mine, I actually have flags for different colors for our 4 different core products and where that ties into the Medicare book. So if I ever need to pull it out, I know that on page 28, it talks about observation days. I know on page 31, it talks about air ambulance and transportation, things like that. Knowing your Medicare and U book and where to direct them to make yourself more credible will make you a better agent. So to be great at selling, you do have to be great at building relationships. You know, something I'll get to at the end here is that we are in the business of making friends for a living. It is our job to go out there and befriend these people and be their advocate. And if you're good at talking to people and you're good at building that trust, you're going to be great at selling. So next lie is I can achieve balance if I work hard enough. Like I said before, you're never going to be in balance, and that's okay. I think we all try to achieve harmony in what we do, but that does require constant reprioritization by the minute. You're not going to plan out your day, and I guarantee it's probably not going to go the way it was planned. You're going to get a phone call that you didn't plan on getting. You're going to get on the phone with somebody who ends up talking for 2 hours and buying 6 products. You just never know, and things are going to have to get moved around. So you do need to be flexible with that. I always say try to be proactive instead of reactive. I always do this, and a good example is I always run my quotes before I call somebody. Anyone who's a hand raiser or anyone I can get any sort of information on in forms of date of birth, where they live, where they taught. You know, I even go as far sometimes is looking at, you know, what did they do last, looking at their personal social media pages, whatever I can get before I call them to be prepared. It always helps a ton. Again, knowing their age, knowing their date of birth, having those numbers ran, how many kids they have, anything you can get ahead of time is going to be more beneficial for you. And then kind of the negative on this side here with the balance is just the guilt. As somebody who's a single parent myself, I constantly ride this line of, am I spending too much time at work and not enough time with my family? Am I spending too much time with my family and not focused enough on work? It's a constant balance and teeter-totter that we all play. Again, don't let the guilt get to you. It's something that the book does really well at giving some examples on. So if you do read this book, this is a great chapter that really resonates with sales reps. But yes, if you work hard enough, you're still not going to be in balance. So kind of a summary just about my self-development journey that I kind of went on, like I was sharing with you guys. If you guys have not checked out katiefortune.com, I met her at an HR conference that I had attended about 3 years ago. And she has a wonderful, I think it's like an 8-minute video. And she talks about her story. And her whole tagline is, I make friends for a living. If you have 8 minutes of time, go to that website, check it out and watch it. You guys will never be the same after it, but it truly just talks about, you know, walking into a cold call or walking into somebody's house, not knowing anything about them, and just truly being invested in getting that person to be your friend. Asking them the same questions you would ask somebody out, you know, at church or in public or somewhere else that you were trying to befriend. Treat these people the same way. Again, reading's been a huge thing for me. Just picking up self-help books. There's tons of them available out there. You know, do audiobooks. Another great book that I've read in the last couple of years is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. It's another one that definitely can help you just really focus on what you want to be and how you're going to get there. Find a mentor. If you guys haven't done that already, whether that's somebody in your own region, whether that's somebody just within the organization, within the industry, whatever it may be, somebody locally you can go get coffee with and pick their brain. Find yourself a mentor. Reach out to your leadership team. they can definitely point you probably in the right direction of somebody within the region as well that'd be willing to help you, and be willing to be an advocate for you as well. Be authentic and share your story. This is who I am. This one was really hard for me to get to, personally. Sharing my story was always something I was super ashamed about. I didn't want people to know that my mom died when I was really young from cancer. I didn't want people to know that I had ever had cancer, or I had been divorced, or I had moved away, or whatever it may be. And I use those things as stepping stones to just resonate with other people and create connections that I didn't even think was possible. But you don't know anyone else's story till you share yours. So egos get bruised, learn to recover quickly. In this industry, again, as sales reps, we have big egos. It kind of comes with the territory. And so understanding that you just need to recover quickly without getting stressed will change your whole day, change your whole week, change your whole month. So next thing was get away from what you're selling and who you're selling to and why anyone would care. Again, that just drives back to the point of, you can tell people all day long, oh, I sell senior products. Oh, I sell their just retired educators. But people want to know, why are people like them picking up this plan? And so the quicker you can get there, the quicker you're going to end up in a sale. And then sincerity is based on actions, not words. This is a story that I shared a couple weeks ago, again, on our region call, about a couple folks that I had worked with where they weren't ready to make a buying decision on anything. We kind of tossed around recovery care, tossed around talking about lifetime massas, but really just going back to the core of AMBA and our memberships. And these two people, both of them, I ended up taking a membership from them on that first call, knowing that they were going to have memberships that they were going to keep for a long time, but it was a foot in the door to build trust. And it gave me a reason to call them back, and say, congratulations. Hey, did your card show up? Anything, we can answer for you. If you haven't read, I know here in Wisconsin, we have an endorsement note for our association. Chris, you'll have to correct me. I'm not sure if all the states have one from their director. But if you haven't read yours for your state, get really familiar with it, what talking points are in there, and reference people back to that and share that with them very openly. So, and that is all I have. So thank you.
Woo!
Great.
That was
great.
Yeah.
We should all come off mute and clap.
That was absolutely incredible, Randy. Seriously, my phone was blowing up with text messages. The chat was blowing up. Just real. I mean, that was just knocked out of the park. An absolute grand slam. When you did that, when you presented that information and wrote that term down, the Hot Mess Express, it's one of my favorite phrases that I will ever hear. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time. You put together an amazing presentation. The first time I heard it, I was blown away. This time I was super blown away. I was texting Liz, I said, there's no doubt in my mind why you are going to be the next Mustang Grand Diamond winner out of Wisconsin. That was absolutely superb. So one more round of applause for Randy. Awesome job.
And the only one thing I want to add to that, Chris, is Randy, there's no doubt why you are a huge success. And go get that Mustang Grand Diamond. We are all cheering for you, all 250 of us out here in the AMBA Nation. So congratulations to your early success, and let's go put a bow on it.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, Wes, I know that we covered quite a lot today, a lot of Aetna, a lot of really good stuff. And so I just have one quote to kind of leave you with today, then I'll toss it back to you. that the distance between insanity and genius is measured only by success.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
really good. I have to think about that one a little bit.
All right.
And the last thing I'll say is we've got a blitz coming out for the company the last 2 weeks of August. You'll see some things come out very soon. Let's just say that you want to make sure that August is a very big month because it can be very profitable for you in the bonus territory. And your regionals will start talking about that. But if your managers have not ordered blitz leads yet, tell them to get on it. They've only got 2 more days to go. Put a little pressure on them because we know that you want to have a big week. The company wants to have a big week. Your region wants to have a big week. And we want to pay out more bonus money than we've ever done before. So get those BOGO lead mailings out and put a little pressure on those guys and gals to make sure that we're all putting ourselves in the best situation to win the month, win the week, win the year, all that kind of great stuff. So you hit the nail on the head, Chris. Another great show. And so that's all I've got on my side. So you want to close it out?
Sure, absolutely. Everybody have an absolutely incredible finish. The Badger over here, I'm out.
And the bow tie over here out as well. And Chris, you know what? See you at the top, buddy. All right, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.